On November 27th. Give it up for the very funny Bridget Callahan, everybody!
Hi guys, Josh is so fucking tall every time I come up here. It's like, Jesus. Oh my God, give it up for all the dogs in the fucking audience right now. The happiest show I've ever done in my life. I don't have a dog myself, actually. I just borrow other people's dogs. I don't know if you have that friend that just dog sits for you all the time and like refuses to get one. I just moved into a new house, and there was an extra dog at the house, because it's Colorado, and a roommate had left a dog. Not in a bad way, he didn't abandon it, he had to leave, there were reasons. But the dog glommed onto me. He was like, every other dog in the house has a bed to sleep in, but not this dog. He was like, you're my mama bird, right? But the thing is, he's like a 14-year-old fat asthmatic chow dog. I know, he's so cute. He looks like those dogs in the Ghostbusters, like the Zool dogs. But when he sleeps at the end of my bed, and this is how he sounds all night. Just all nights. And I made a video for my friend in North Carolina, one of those videos, and I sent it to him, and he was like, what is that sound in the background there that I hear? Because I watched the video, you could hear it. I was like, that's just me queefing, baby. That's just doing my kegels and just keeping it tight for you. So it's been difficult. I'm a new Colorado resident. I've been here about a year. Sorry about your property taxes. I'm working on my Colorado residency. I did the first step finally just a couple months ago. I took a shit in the woods. Yeah, thank you. On mushrooms, so extra credit, right? Yes, yeah. I'll be honest, the most difficult part about adjusting in Colorado is dating in the wintertime, because apparently someone taught all the guys here that it was okay to ask a girl on a first date in a 0-degree snow hike situation, and that is not okay. I only ever do that with other fat guys, so if we get stuck on the trail, I have something to eat, you know? I like to plan ahead for that stuff. And I get asked to go skiing a lot. I don't know, you guys can see me up here. I don't look like I've ever been skiing in my life, right? I'm from Cleveland. Our winter sport is not stepping over pigeons frozen to the sidewalk. I'm not very good at it, and that's not a good game to not be good at, let me tell you. Just for kicks, I looked up skiing on Urban Dictionary, which is my favorite lexicon of modern knowledge. And the first 11 definitions, all cocaine related, right? We could have just guessed that. But the 12th definition was sitting bitch in a pickup truck while jerking two guys off. So who's a skiing expert now, you know? Just saying. Got a very particular set of skills. The new house I've moved in has been really interesting because it's a house full of adults. I've never actually lived in a house full of people who are all like in their late 30s, early 40s. It's really interesting. It turns out nothing changes. We were sitting around at 11 a.m. on a Sunday morning drinking our coffee like responsible people, and the one weird roommate's girlfriend, right? Because there's always one weird girlfriend that's dating a roommate, just out of the blue was like, hey, has anybody here ever done any sex work they got paid for? Without missing a beat, I was like, yeah, one time a guy paid me a $10 check for a blowjob. Why did I tell her that? It's because weed makes you too honest, guys. This is the problem with this state. But while we're talking about it, if you're gonna pay me $10 for a blowjob, what makes you think I have a checking account? You know? Think about that one. Also, my blowjobs are worth way more than $10, honestly. I'm a fat girl from Ohio, you know? You wanna bet on who's gonna win the marathon, you bet on the skinny black guy from Kenya. If you want a blowjob with something to prove, you pick the fat girl from Ohio. It's 100% American-made, homegrown mommy issues blowjob. It is mommy issues. We need to stop calling it daddy issues. This has become a pet cause of mine because it's mommy issues. Someone's mom convinced them no one's gonna love them, so we sucked every dick for 30 miles around, and now we all own cupcake shops, you know? The problem is no one wants to be called mommy during sex, so that's why we call it daddy issues, I guess. Let's talk about my mommy issues. When I was very young, my mom told me that guys were going to want to sleep with me because they thought I was easy because I was fat. She was not right. It's a shitty thing to tell an 8-year-old. It's a little too early for that. And if we're being honest, like, I don't think guys look at me and think I'm easy. I think they look at me and think I'm not gonna die in childbirth, you know? He's a good peasant Polish body, right? It was formed in the beet fields, running away from the Russians, and then running back to the beet fields, and running away from the Germans, and running back to the beet fields, and running away from the Russians again. And when I go to class, for yoga class, and I see all those skinny French bitches twisting themselves in a Vashanasana or whatever, all I can think is, let's see you drop a baby in the beet field while the Luftwaffe is flying above, Frenchie, you know? We know what those French calves do, you know? That is, yeah. That's not my only World War II joke. You want to hear my other one? Yeah? About 10 years ago, I was doing an 8-ball with a guy for my birthday. Yeah. And we were having some problems, as those of you who have tried to fuck on 8 balls know. So to get in the mood, he turns to me, he whispers in my ear, "Pretend I'm a soldier returning home from World War II." And I said, the only thing I could think about was like, do you need a shot of penicillin? Is that where we're going with this? Where is that? I did just turn 40 this year. That is the appropriate response. Yeah, that is it. 40's been fine, honestly. My middle-aged, or my 30-year-old friends have a bigger problem with it than I do, honestly. Because I'm determined to age gracefully. I've started calling myself middle-aged. I think it's the appropriate time. Nobody who's done as many whippets as me has ever lived past 82. It's a scientific fact, you know. It is interesting. I was waiting for the epiphany at 40, right? Like I was thinking that there'd be some like secret to the universe that would expose itself to me, just come down, like a message. Turns out the message was 40 is a lot of dicks. I've seen a lot of dicks in my life. It's like eating salt and vinegar potato chips is the best way I can explain it. You just keep eating them, and then like 20 minutes later, your mouth is on fire, and you just realize you shouldn't have done that, and that's an STD metaphor, everybody. That's what that was. I'm not worried about getting old, honestly. The one thing that scares me, and this is a real fear of mine, I'm being very vulnerable right now, I don't want to get so old that I have to use lube. It's the flavors of lube that throw me off. It's always something like bend me over banana. I have daddy issues, cherry vanilla, something like that. I think if it tastes a little bit more like what I was expecting when I had sex, I could get down with it. Something like late night taco. Held my pee in too long at the club, pineapple, you know? It's a gross one. Don't kiss me there, PBR. That's a real important one here. Oh, I have been dating nothing but 22-year-olds for the last 6 years. Yeah. If you didn't hear her, she said, same girl, with a weirdness that denotes what that means, right? Turns out there's an expiration date to how impressed you can be by vape tricks, you know? And I hit it. I did hit it. I've been trying to date a little bit closer to my age. I did go on a date with a 40-year-old the other day. Yeah, please clap for that. That was hard. Yeah. Mostly because I don't know what it is about 40-year-olds, but there's something about 40-year-old men, when they turn 40, their saliva gland just kicks into overdrive. I think it's why they grow the beards to like soak up the saliva. It's like making out with a goldfish on Molly, you know? For real. We're just dripping. I said that one time and the guy in the back was like, it's for soaking up the pussy juice. And I was like, sir, you're wearing a Jurassic Park t-shirt. No one believes you at all in this whole room. All right, back to this guy. Went on a 40-year-old date, right? He was a puppeteer. But it was fine, despite all the unnecessary puppet references. It was a good time. And then he did that thing at the end of the date that's always a little bit weird. He was like, do you want to come back to my house and smoke a bowl? And I was like, ooh, I just met you. I don't really know you. My parents raised me very liberal, very feminist, very independent, steady stream diet of Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And if there's one thing that taught me, it's that you do not ever turn down free puppets and weed. So I went, right? Yeah. And then the thing that I was most scared of happening did in fact happen. He made me listen to podcasts for like 2 hours. I know. Oh, God. So I'm wandering around the house, ignoring the dulcet tones of Joe Rogan. And I notice, did not sleep with this guy, just so we know, just so we're clear. But I'm walking around the house, and he has this very extensive photography collection, all very framed and very nice. And every photograph is of the same 5 people, all in these very elaborate wolf costumes, because this guy is a furry. Yeah, and before we get too, I like the one person who was like, oh, yeah, I got a little judgy, I'm gonna admit it, but then I realized I was walking around, they're like, the pictures of them are camping at Burning Man, and hanging out at cruise ship in Greece, and sitting rooftop poolside in Vegas with their little fuzzy tails dipping in the water, right? By the end of it, I was like, how do I join your wolf pack, right? Do I let you sniff my ass? Is that the protocol? How do I get my vaccinations? Let me in on this shit. I got no support system. All right, you guys didn't like that one. You felt bad for him, that's fine. I was not being judgy. Also, he's way more money than me, so he's fine. Those wolf costumes cost like one of my rent month's payments. They're elaborate. All right, I'm gonna end you guys with this. This is my grossest joke that I have. Do you guys want it? Yeah? All right. So I went on 2 dates with this guy, 2. Apparently he felt very comfortable with me. And he texted me after the second date, and he said, hey, I just had this funny thought just now. What if we took your cum and my cum, and we mixed them together, and I spoon-fed them to you? Is the thing an actual, real, live human being from Greeley said to me. And first of all, that seems like a face-to-face conversation, right? Same. And I have a lot of problems with it, but I have 2 very specific problems. The first one is nobody in the history of just thinking of things has ever just thought of that. You know? Like, you have been jerking off for 15 years to that idea, and Margaret Thatcher and whatever else, and I'm the first person who looks like she might actually do it, and I don't know how to change that about myself, but I am working on it, you know? The second thing is I'm a creative pothead. I thought about it. I was like, okay, fine. What would this be like, right? Your cum, my cum. It's like a very obvious time delay, first of all, right? So one of them's gonna get cold. And I have a thing about lukewarm liquids, and I don't think you can microwave that shit because I think it's gonna separate. So I texted him back. And I said, all right, I am willing to give this a shot if you are willing to hold it in your mouth till the end and mama bird me. And I never heard from him again. So that is how you do it, ladies. You just out-gross those fuckers. I'm Bridget Callahan. Have a good night.